What are your numbers weekly right now?
So last 7 days are doing 72K revenue and 31K profit.
Bro, 30 grand profit in the last 7 days. Let's go.
Good stuff.
All right, so we've got camera, lights, we've got action. Welcome everyone. This is Richard. So a little bit of a teaser. Richard is about to hit $500,000 in revenue this year. So we'll go deeper into that the more we get into this live call. Also, for those who weren't here last week, so Success Stories is basically Freedom Club of finding who our successful students are, and we're trying our best to meet them and get as much information out of them as possible in hopes to get that back to you because they might have some handy tips, or maybe there's a challenge or an obstacle that they faced that they conquered, and it could make a major difference in your guys' experience. So that's why we're doing this with Success Stories. What I encourage you to do, if anyone has any questions for myself or for Richard, please just put them in the chat. So I've got obviously my laptop just next to me here. What we'll do is I'll speak with Richard and we'll try to keep the flow of the call. Yep. And then towards the halfway mark, Richard, we can answer anyone's questions. First off, mate, let's start with just finding out a bit more about yourself before we go into the deeper questions.
Yep.
Where are you from, for starters?
Originally born in South Africa, but moved to Australia in 99. So been here pretty much all my life. 28 now, moved here when I was 2, straight to the Gold Coast. So Gold Coast is pretty much all I know.
Okay. And do you speak Afrikaans?
No, I'm English only.
English only. Okay.
Yeah.
I can only speak one language. But I was learning Lebanese for a little bit. I ended up stopping. I was dating a girl that was that used to live in Lebanon, and when we broke up, I didn't see the need.
That was it.
Yeah. Okay. So you are originally from South Africa. You spent your whole life on the Gold Coast?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means schooling on the Gold Coast as well?
Yep. Schooling on the Gold Coast. Griffith Uni for uni Gold Coast campus.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And mate, if we were to talk about schooling, I find that this is always pretty interesting because you're doing 500K a year at the moment with your Shopify, so it's always interesting to find out like the education you've had. So what could you tell us about your schooling? Did you finish year 12?
Yeah, graduated in 2014. Yeah, schooling was okay. Yeah, I guess I was just an average student, and that kind of came down to not being interested. And then coming out of school, studied marketing, went to school for business. So throughout this journey, it's been pretty eye-opening to realize how engaged I can be when I'm interested in the topic.
Yeah, okay.
Especially when it earns money as well.
Yeah.
That keeps you interested.
It does.
But yeah, that's kind of been a lifelong journey. Well, not lifelong, but over the past few years, especially just realizing how much more dedicated I can be to things that I find interesting.
Okay, that makes sense, mate. So high school, and then so you did a business degree. Did you finish that? So that was a bachelor?
Yeah, bachelor in business, majoring in marketing.
Okay, and what sort of jobs have you worked in? I mean, how old were you when you, had your first job?
Yeah, just did odd jobs. First job was Red Rooster.
Red Rooster, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't had Red Rooster in a while.
And then after I finished high school, went to America for a year exchange, a gap year kind of thing, and then came back, studied business, and then we were actually talking about this the other day on the phone when you reached out. My job in uni was the next door place to where this podcast is now. So that's pretty crazy, full circle moment. Yeah, that's just a crazy story to come back to. And then finished uni, studied marketing, and then I initially thought I wanted to work for myself, but I just couldn't find what that was in. So then I ended up working for a few marketing agencies where I've been now for the past almost 5 years.
Okay. So, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, that is a full circle moment. How crazy. So just next door, basically the building next door to us right now is one of your first job after high school.
Yeah.
And we're now talking about your success from your online business. So yeah, that's incredible. The other thing as well, Rich joined, I think it was the 3rd of January?
I launched my store 4th of Jan, but I joined Freedom 9th of December.
9th of December.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're right now, it's the 12th of December.
Yeah, so exactly a year since joining.
A year. Wow, okay. So, mate, with these jobs you've had, have any of them been working for yourself? Because I know you mentioned that you wanted to work for yourself, but have you actually ever done that?
No, not really. I tried it, but I just wasn't successful in it.
What did you try and how long for? And
a few different jobs trying for myself. So the first one I did was, I've always kind of loved entrepreneurial things. So in high school even, I would find like just things to buy and sell.
Like what? Give me an example.
My dad works in packaging, so he would sometimes get samples of like different brands, chocolates or things like that, and then I'll take those to school and sell them when he'd finished his project with them.
Well, what was your profit margins on the chocolates? I mean, they were free
Well,
for
it'd
you.
be 100% profit margins.
Wow, that's some good margins. Okay.
And then I don't know, just random things. I would like rent out my hat at school because you needed a hat. Like you'd get detention if you didn't have a hat, so I would rent my spare hats out.
Dude, I love that. That's brutal, but also so clever.
yeah, that's pretty funny.
So you'd have a spare hat, so obviously neither of you would get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have a few hats in my bag and then rent the spares out for $1 or $2 for lunchtime.
Okay, and then you could take that to the tuck shop or something? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's so good.
in uni, I try to go into like, when drones were like still pretty new, I tried to start like a drone photography business for real estate agencies. That was okay, a bit of money, but I just didn't have any like business acumen, like to get clients, sell my services. So I was just trying to like talk to real estate agents, but I was just super nervous about the whole process.
Yeah.
That didn't really go anywhere. And then...
So just with that, so with the drone footage for your real estate clients, how long did you try that?
Probably 6 months, not very long. And in hindsight now, looking back, as a 17, 18-year-old, like I didn't put the effort that should have been put into starting a business.
But you know what's interesting, mate? The reason I ask is like six months is still, I still think it's a decent amount of time. Like the amount of people, for example, trying things like e-commerce, you know, people get over it after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and most businesses outside of online business, like you need to dedicate 6, 12,
100%.
even 18 months before you know, getting momentum and learning and getting that confidence, you know?
100%. In the back of my mind, I've always had this thing of like, I want to work for myself, but I didn't know what it was. So throughout uni, even after uni, I've always loved courses, which is probably what in some ways led me to freedom. But through those courses, trying so many different things. Initially, I wanted to run like, so this is now after drone period.
Yeah.
I wanted to run like a Facebook ads agency. So I studied a bunch of things. But again, like I struggled with selling my services.
Okay. So you knew how to deliver a good service. Like you were happy with,
I can do the work.
you just couldn't get the clients.
Yeah, that's where I struggled. But then it's funny how like every single course that I've done until freedom, haven't put the effort in that I needed to, but it led to a different skill set landed in my current career.
Wow.
Which I still work full time in media buying, but
So-
you always take something away from whatever you learn.
Are you saying from the previous jobs you've had before media buying, even though that didn't, so to speak, work out specifically, you learned things that are now helping you in media buying now? Is that?
No, I did courses in media buying, thinking after drone time that I wanted to have a media buying agency.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't want to, I struggled to sell myself in
Yeah.
media buying.
Okay.
But I could do the media buying in some ways.
So you're always that way. You're always working for someone though.
Yeah, but then I always ended up working for someone, but just learning new skills to be able to. Yeah, it's just interesting how my path prior to freedom came still learning, but led to a normal just 9-to-5 job. I never got the break of owning my own business
Okay.
until now.
Until now.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay, so had you ever tried building? Because what I'm hearing right now, which I'm really liking, is because again, I'm trying to see common traits between you know, successful students, and already I can tell that you've always been someone who's wanted to learn. I mean, you've finished school. I mean, some people don't finish school. You've completed a degree. Hats off to you. Myself, I tried to go to university twice and really struggled. But then also, even after university, you're still constantly doing courses, trying to further your knowledge. So that's really interesting to know. So had you tried building like an online business before the Freedom Club, or?
Yeah, so there's so many details to kind of go through that's probably not necessary, but
Oh, I mean,
throughout all
whatever
of
you
these
think.
courses and things, like I tried everything. I tried dropshipping in the past with other courses.
Sounds like an ad.
I tried
this, I tried that, and it wasn't until Freedom Club.
Yeah, it's funny, but it seriously was like that. And even when I joined Freedom, like I was hesitant. I remember jumping on the call with Josh at the time, which was cool to meet him and kind of, ask him questions. But I remember him telling me like, at the time my son was 8 months, I think, around the time. And he's like, well, you know, like in a year's time, you're probably going to be able to like be at home with him and like see him taking it for first steps. And like, I was like, that would be awesome. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, sure, like a bit of a sales line, but that would be awesome. I'd love that. And it literally is the truth. Like it actually happened.
Wow. I have to digest that, because it's being able to spend more time with your son, how Josh positioned it, see his first steps, because he was 8 months.
He was around 8 months and now he turns 2 April next year. So it's been a very a special time at home, having this like opportunity come about while our son's been growing up, and just seeing the opportunity and the potential to spend more time with him and not miss out on those moments.
So, mate, because family for me is probably one of my biggest values. So that really hits home, being able to spend more time with your family. I know people just say that, but to actually, you know, have the privilege or the opportunity to do that is incredible. So how does that feel? Like what emotion sort of comes to you when you think of I can spend more time with my son?
Yeah, it's wild. It's something I'm so grateful for. Like, because when I joined it, I wanted this to work. Like every other thing I'd ever done, wanted it to work, obviously. But this has worked. And as of last week or the week before, I handed in my resignation to my current full-time job to be able to focus on what Freedom Club's taught me next year, and then travel more with my family. So it's just, everything. I know it sounds very salesy, but everything that Freedom Club was marketed to me about has actually eventuated, which is just funny. And it's, not paid to say that.
No, you're
but
not.
it has happened.
Oh, God bless. I mean, it's the thing is like you have found success, and now we are talking about it. And I guess anything we speak about or anything we say in regards to that is going to sound like a sales pitch.
Definitely.
The good thing is you are all already members of Freedom Club. So
yeah, that's right.
So don't have to pitch. Okay, so going back just a little bit, I'm trying to isolate like a particular moment. Do you think there was a particular moment where, I mean, you've always sort of felt like most people have always sort of felt, I think, that like, I don't want to work for someone else. I don't want to work to 9 to 5. I want to have that freedom, right? Most people sort of feel like that. But then I feel like people have a pivotal moment. There's a moment where they go, nah, enough's enough.
Yeah.
I need to do something now so that I can change my situation. And does a moment come to mind where you just sort of felt like, or maybe it was a week or a month or a time frame?
It's a good question. Trying to think back. I think it
would
would
have. Take your time, bro. Take your time.
I think it probably would have come around like when our son was born and my wife, she finished working to look after him, and then there was a still period of like maternity leave, and then that ended.
Your wife just finished her maternity leave?
Yeah. But then around the same time, we had also thought, okay, like to afford living and also trying to save for a house hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
We moved back to her parents' house to try and save some money.
Yeah.
And then when we were there for longer with our son, and then my wife was no longer earning, the income had stopped from maternity leave, and did some calculations and realized like I still want my wife to stay at home with our son. And this has kind of been an ongoing story when I've had success posts. But it's just not going to work with how things cost now. Yeah, especially on the Gold Coast, like rent and stuff is just crazy. I had kind of put away for a while online learning like I had done in the past because I was pretty happy at my job, but so I wasn't really looking that way anymore. And then I started to have these thoughts and doing calculations on, okay, well, what does life look like without extra income, but also trying to keep my wife at home? And then, I started seeing Freedom ads show up, and I think I actually followed you from like way back. So I'd kind of seen your stuff through Instagram, and Josh and I have a mutual friend, so I'd seen stuff through that as well.
Yeah.
And then it just started to speak to like, what I was looking for. So then I just went down the rabbit hole, and it all, came together that way.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions there because, mate, I honestly, such a beautiful story. Your motivation there was your wife's maternity leave had finished, and you wanted her to stay at home with your son, and you wanted to do what you could to achieve that. But you knew if something didn't change, she was going to have to go to work. Like that was basically it, right?
And we were going to, as much as it was great staying with the in-laws, like in terms of staying with the in-laws goes, they made it as best as possible, but it's obviously not ideal when you have your own family. So I knew she's going to have to go back to work, and we probably have to stay there for longer.
Yeah.
Something needed to change.
Okay.
To achieve the lifestyle that we wanted to achieve. Yeah.
That's interesting, Rich, because I do wonder. It's not so that you were in this like really like I was going to say people have to be in a corner, but in a way you were in a pretty tough. Like it sounds like a tough spot. You know, I don't know exactly how that would have felt. I mean, I'm not looking after a family of my own, but I imagine that there's a lot of good things, but also a lot of pressure that comes with that.
Yeah.
You know, especially as a man, and I do wonder if part of the pressure. So I'm just trying to articulate this, but it's like if you would have made the same decision if you didn't have the pressure. That's what I'm wondering. You know,
I don't think so. I think it would have put it off for longer, been comfortable, and also at the same time, like I think buying into the program, especially at a time of that stage where like we didn't have too much money, like that puts the pressure on like the buy-in to make sure, okay, I better figure this out or better get it done. Yeah, I think that all definitely came together as a bit of a perfect storm in that way.
Yeah, just absolutely loving this. Really, it's even inspiring me, and it sounds like, mate, that you are a really great father and head of your family, bro. Honestly,
I try to be. Thank you.
Good on you. So, mate, a question: when you first joined Freedom Club, I'm sure there was a bunch of different emotions. This is what I'm really curious about. Did you believe that you could have the levels of success that you're having now? Like, was that even an option?
Definitely not. But there was something about it where I was like, there's something about this makes more sense than what I've seen before, but I had no idea of like what that success would look like. And I guess my hope when I started it was just like, this would be really helpful extra income. It wasn't like this would be really helpful full time.
Okay, so you just wanted some extra income. What would have you been happy with? Honestly, like what would have made the big difference in your life?
I guess just to cover my wife's income. would have been ideal. But even that was like, oh, that's not necessarily what I'm trying to achieve. Just extra income right now would be helpful.
Okay, so that was like so just a little bit of income, but if you could fully replace your wife's income, that was like the really big goal.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it'd be a good time to talk about some results. What are your numbers weekly right now, as far as, let's start with revenue?
So I might get my phone. So it's actually,
Yeah.
so it's accurate.
Yeah, go. It's okay. So we are entering an intermission. Please cue elevator music.
So if we go like last 7 days, right now it's been the best it's been all year, obviously being the season leading up to Christmas.
Yeah. Thank you for the transparency there as well.
Yeah, which makes a massive difference. So last 7 days are doing 72K revenue and 31K profit,
Bro.
which is insane.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so 30 grand profit in the last 7 days, and your major goal was to just stop your wife from working. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done that 20-fold or.
Yeah, well, as I said, this period of time's been the busiest all year, being November, December.
But it's also the most current.
Yeah.
So, as your store's building and your brand's developing credibility,
Yeah.
things are a bit slower. So it's like your most current success is right now, and that's your last 7 days. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's been a crazy few weeks because there's been times where I get to lunchtime at work and I would have earned my week's wage, and it's
Halfway
lunchtime
through
of
the day.
1 day. So yeah, I can't. I can only thank God for the absolute gift that's been. It's just completely outside of my comprehension of what I was going to achieve when I signed up last December last year.
I guess now you know how possible it is. I kind of noticed at the start of the call, you were saying that, you mentioned next year, and we can go a bit more into that, but it's like you're obviously going to pursue e-commerce and keep learning. I imagine this has ignited, what sort of has this done for your excitement levels?
I guess, it's made me extremely excited for life just to see the opportunity that's available, and also just open my eyes that it is possible that I can take this skill set and just keep trying to replicate it. Because I also don't imagine that my current successful store will last forever. But I know that it's not. There's so many options out there, products out there to keep testing, that I'm confident that I can replicate it. That's extremely exciting, and I think it's a very privileged position now, having put the work in this year to get where it is now and create enough savings to then go into next year to fully focus on it.
Yeah.
And
how exciting.
Because the payoff is definitely worth it. You get one store that works. You say you've failed the 10 stores. It's completely worth it. It's hard at the time, but it will pays itself off in a big way.
So did it take you 10 stores? How many stores did it take you before, or products did it take you before you started finding success?
This is why I think it comes back to really closely why the previous courses is a big part of my story, is because in all of the previous courses, I didn't have success, but I think it was all those iterations of figuring different things out that then came together when I joined Freedom, that the way Freedom laid everything out. It was fortunate that the first product I did was successful pretty soon.
Yeah.
And that's very unusual.
But you had, like you said, you had multiple, it'd be like whether you had the failures in Freedom Club or not.
Outside of Freedom Club.
Yeah, you had values and you kept going.
Prior to that, there was 10 failed businesses and failed dropshipping before.
Mate, I have to ask, okay, because this sounds cheesy, but what is the biggest thing that keeps you going? Because when you fail, it sucks. You lose confidence. There's so many things there's some negative things you feel. How did you keep going? Why didn't you stop after the first or fifth time? You said 10 businesses. How did you keep going?
I think just because I was seeing other people online achieve it, especially being in marketing and working in the space. There's a lot of people in that space online that I follow, and I'm like, if these people can achieve it, I can achieve it.
Okay, so if you were to come up with some advice to help your fellow students, is there something that comes to mind, or some tips that you want to give them? And then we'll answer everyone's questions soon as well.
I think it was fortunate that in this particular stage of my journey, the first product I tried worked, but at the same time, there's 10 years prior to that of trying different things that didn't work. And when I've now found something that did work, all of those efforts were worth it. They came together. So if this is the first thing that you're trying, and it does take multiple stores and multiple products, when you do find the one that works, it's completely worth the effort to get there, and you need it. That effort is required to figure those things out.
Effort is required.
100%. And then as the store gets more successful, the effort doesn't stop at all. There's new challenges that come. Like right now, we've just run out of stock.
It's frustrating. It's a good problem to have.
And that's a really interesting position to be in, because it's a great problem to have, and also trying to focus on being thankful for what we've achieved, because it's massive, but then trying to solve the problems as well. So the problems keep coming, the effort's got to keep going, but the problems just change.
I do feel that now you're working for yourself. which is amazing. I do feel when you're working for yourself, it's a lot more enjoyable. However, you're constantly putting fires out.
Yeah,
But you
100%.
you learn to love it.
And that's what my wife's been super helpful about. We've been talking about it like this afternoon after I finished work. She's like, if you want to go out and work for yourself now, these are the problems that you are going to face. And I can't take it personally. Like I get very anxious. I'm like, oh, there's stock errors. Like customers are unhappy. Like they're angry at me. So that's just a new phase of something I've got to work out and work through, that as an employee, you don't really have to deal with that stuff. It's at the end of the day, you go home and you kind of shut off.
Yeah.
So it's just, new problems, but good problems.
Yeah. Okay, mate. I think I've got 2 more questions, and then I want to share you with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to go back, I feel like this could be handy information for everyone listening. Is there something that you would change through your e-commerce journey that maybe someone who's just getting started or can learn from?
I think something, because like my sister, for example, she saw my success and then she really wanted to learn how I did it. So
I bet.
I showed her and I started like showing her the steps and teaching her how to do it. And she's also now found success.
What sort of success has your sister found?
I'm not exactly sure. She hasn't been completely transparent with her numbers,
Okay,
but
fair. By that response, like it sounds like it's going pretty good.
yeah, very good. Like it would have also been like a full-time wage.
Wow.
The thing that I was really kind of explaining to her, and I guess this is what's helped in my job in the past in media buying, working with some e-commerce companies. The product price has probably been my biggest takeaway. That I think it's helped me a lot.
Okay.
And I was to give one piece of advice, I think that would be quite helpful. On Facebook and Instagram ads, I'm going to go quite into the details here.
Bro, I mean, I'm sure that everyone's looking forward to hearing the detail here.
But so something that I found super helpful, and then when I helped her a lot, is the product price. So on Facebook and Instagram ads, it's exceptionally hard to get a cost per purchase under $20. And that's at least what I've found working in ads for the past 4 or 5 years. And usually you can arrange it about like $30. So $20 to $30. So if you look at your product and you can sell, say you're buying a product for $20 and you probably sell it for $60. If you're then spending $20 to get the product and you're spending $20 to $30 on the ad to get the sale, you're only leaving yourself then $10 to $20 profit. And then you've got fulfillment fees, app fees, and things like that. So probably the biggest takeaway that I also then saw helped her is trying to find a product that you can price just over $100, because you can still get a very similar cost per purchase there, but it leaves enough margin to create enough profit. Just say be able to stick at $100 or just over $100. That's a very random piece of advice, but that's what I've found is in an example where I've helped someone else, being the biggest thing that's helped them.
No, mate, that's great advice. I'm not sure if we specifically mentioned that in the course. I feel like we might, but for anyone that might have missed it, if you're looking at least for your primary product, you want it to be
primary
at least,
product.
$100 so that you have a margin, so that you can actually trial and run ads effectively. So that's interesting. This is Rich's biggest advice from his experience. So thank you, mate, for the gold nugget. Okay, so we've got 24 minutes. Just quickly, what are the future plans now?
So as I said, I handed in resignation.
Well, you have handed it in?
Yeah.
And when's your last day at work?
It's still only going to be in March.
Okay.
Just because the position I'm in, I want to hand over well. So
Good on you.
yeah, so it's still a while away, but Christmas holidays coming up. Pretty much didn't really have a Christmas holiday last year because all I did was focus on building the store that became successful.
Yeah.
So essentially that's what I want to do again this Christmas holiday. So by the time I finish in March,
You could have
few
2 pumping
contingency
stores.
plans.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's the plan.
All right, mate. That sounds like a good plan. So I just wanted to announce a few things before we go into everyone's question. The first thing, which is really exciting, so me and Rich were talking about this, is we're now introducing the next level past Freedom Formula, which is going to be called Inner Circle. Now, Austin has just, I believe, sent an announcement out. So if you haven't seen Austin's announcement in regards to Inner Circle, please check it out. In short, we're going to handpick successful students and basically try and scale them to the moon, take them under our wing. So really, really exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting for Rich. Like, it's exciting if you're in that position, but it's also exciting as you're getting started because the potential, rather than just being, okay, I want to earn a few extra $100, I want to earn a salary to, so my wife stays at home. Then it goes into like, I can build some serious wealth. So Inner Circle. The next thing is if you're local, Queensland, Gold Coast, Brisbane, a reminder that we have our in-person event. So Saturday, 10 a.m., at the Surface Paradise Pavilion. If you're local, please come and say hello. I'll be there. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, that's why I know. I've been looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're both going to be there, which is exciting. And lastly, if you're just getting started and you haven't entered the $1,000 giveaway, $1,000 for ad spend, I mean, you can do whatever you want with the cash, but ad spend would be better. Make sure you join that giveaway. So check it out. I believe it's in announcements. So all you need to do is show us that you've launched your Shopify store and selected your products, and you go into the draw. Okay, that's it from me. I love everyone just supporting between us trying to make sure it's all running smoothly. Appreciate you all so much. That gives me hope. Well done. I'm glad. Okay, so from Sasha. Hi, Richard. I'm in the process of building my store at the moment, and those sort of numbers seem so unattainable, but incredibly exciting to think about. May I ask how many products you're selling and what's been the best marketing for you throughout the process? So products, yeah.
I'm selling only 3 products. I've tested a few other secondary products. I just had issues with suppliers and wasn't really worth the hassles of those ones being returned afterwards. So I kind of just went back down to the 3 that I found working.
Well, yeah. So one primary, two complementary products.
Yeah.
And you're doing, these insane numbers. So
yeah, and then I found that the bundles have been a massive part of that because in the first version of Freedom, so when I joined, it was still, I forget what the first version was called, but the bundles weren't yet a part of the course. So then when Austin added that into the secondary course and I added that to the website, that's when I saw a big change in profit margin. Because if you make it super enticing for them just to upsell to the next product, they're already there to buy the one. So you've already paid your advertising fees to get their sale, and then by bundling.
Bro, how good is it when you see someone buy your bundle? It's the
Yeah.
best. It's the best feeling. Because like you said, it's the same cost to acquire the customer.
Yeah, incredible day of sales. And then my wife and I were about to go to bed. My wife got the notification and we were just about to go to sleep and someone bought 3 bundles. So it was like almost $800 in a sale. It was insane. So yeah, the bundles have really helped. And I kind of mean that in 2 ways. I mean that in terms of like the upsell to buy 2, 3 or 4. And then as well as the bundle options.
Okay, and the next part of that question was, as far as your marketing, what have you found that's worked the best? I imagine as far as like your ads.
Yeah, for ads, the biggest thing is talking into the pain points that the product overcomes. So really taking time to think about that and I guess not necessarily rush it and answer it quickly, but think about from the position of somebody who's using the product, their lifestyle, what are their pain points and how does that solve that? So, and trying to convey the message as fast as possible at the start of the ad so that you can get that target audience understanding your product as fast as possible. So that's kind of been the most successful strategy. And then as I started to get more and more profitable, then taking that money to pay UGC creators to do the same so you can have more people in more environments using your product.
Okay, so getting ads that are working and then reinvesting the money into getting more professionally built ads, but mostly focusing on the pain points, but getting there early in the ad. So that was a big thing, getting there early to the pain. Mate, that kind of goes into the next question, which is what percentage of your profit goes back into marketing, advertising, and running the business?
I've kind of just got it now to a stage I just take a set weekly amount out of the business and everything else I leave in the business.
Yeah.
But that's because it's come to a stage now where you can set it up like that. At the start, I wasn't really working out percentages or anything like that. It was just putting my own money into it. And I think I started on like $40 or $50 a day and just figuring that out until that got profitable and then eventually once profitable, you can pay for itself.
Yeah, let's keep going. I have another question there, but just while I keep scrolling, how much money, mate, did you spend before you started making money?
Yeah, I guess because I was fortunate that the first primary product worked, I think maybe in the first week, slightly negative, but I could see the opportunity in it. So then break even and then profitable. So my first goal was just to kind of pay back the course amount. So I remember that being a thing. So I'm not sure of the exact figure. Probably like $1,000.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. It was a bit easier though because I could see that there was opportunity in it because it was like loss, break even, and then I could see that if I make tweaks, I can see which ads are working and then I can focus in that direction.
Yeah, so even though you'd spent 1,000, you'd also, during that process, made money and saw things working in a way. So I
could see where the avenues of the opportunity were to then put the money there with the ads that are working and then become profitable.
Makes sense, mate. Thank you. Okay, so Keith, hey Richard, I'm juggling full-time work with Freedom also. How did you find the balance mentally and time-wise? Good question. To put the required effort into your store.
Well, as I said, it was good timing when I started this time last year because it was coming into the Christmas holidays. So that was fortunate to then I could just put in those few weeks completely into the store. And then I guess my routine throughout the year now has kind of looked like work 8 to 4:30, come home, spend time with family, put our baby down, and then I'll work like a couple hours at night, either like editing ads, customer service emails, and then testing things on the website as well, the copywriting on the website. So
you just had to find the time at night after work?
Yeah, because I'm not too much of a morning person. I would love to be. I'd love to wake up and do it first, but I'm more of a night person. So yeah.
And what about, I guess the next part of that question is, so that's how you manage your time. Was that mentally, like how did you, after you're probably tired after work, especially coming back, then to your family and doing all the bits and pieces we all have to do in everyday life.
Yeah.
How did you then find the energy?
Yeah, well, I guess having the success fairly early was helpful. I could see the opportunity then to be motivated to keep going.
And on that, then hopefully, because you were seeing your own success was a big driver for you.
Yeah.
hopefully all of you watching can use Rich's success to do the same thing for you.
Yeah.
So if you're tired after work, think about Rich, think about the numbers he's doing, and then just do that hour, do those an hour and a half, do that 2 hours, whatever it is, and just know that there's a really amazing pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, you know?
Yeah, and that's been what you mentioned there about doing that, putting the hours in, has been such a massive mind shift for me of like, because I've always worked in a job and my time at the work completely relates to the money earned. Having found success in this now, it's completely shifted my mind on like the leverage of what I put my time into. So now, 1 hour in the business is completely different in terms of the opportunity and income from that in terms of 1 hour at work. So that's been super motivating for me as well. Like if I don't want to do something or I'm super tired, I'm like, well, it's worth it because this will pay off, and it will keep paying off once it's set up.
You've got the time and value equation sorted out. Okay, mate, thank you. So we've got Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca. So what type of hours did you put in daily to set up and manage your store while working full time? So basically what we were just speaking about, but was there an amount of time that...
I suppose initially when it was running and I was back at work, it was about probably 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And now that it's running and we've found what's working, some weeks might be, the whole week will be 2 hours. Some other weeks it might be 10 hours.
Wow, sometimes you put 2 hours in a week into this.
Yeah. And sometimes I probably just put more effort in because I love looking at it and watching it and looking at stats on ads that I don't really need to. But I just enjoy analyzing it all.
Okay, cool. They're all interesting questions. So Renee wants to know, is your website still Austin's Design or have you changed it?
No, it's still Austin's Design.
Yeah. Still the same design. Okay, so Danilo, man, I'm really hoping I'm saying your name correctly. Hey, Richard, I also had my first child recently. Congrats, by the way, brother. Congratulations. I'm also currently living with my parents. How was it, like managing time with your family and building your store? Do you have any tips on pushing myself through mentally being a good dad whilst also focusing on my store? What a great...
Yeah, very good question. Depends how old your baby is, Danilo. But I guess what helped me at the time, my baby was still sleeping quite a bit, so I would just try and do as much work as possible in those times. Fortunately, my wife has been extremely supportive as well and has understood what I've been trying to create. So that's been extremely helpful. But it's also a challenge as well. Sometimes I do want to be, I get very obsessed about things, just mentally. So I want to be, sometimes I would also like to be a bit more present.
Okay.
And that's kind of something I'm working on myself. But I suppose it's also, especially if you can get it up running as fast as possible and put that effort in at the start, then later on you have far more time.
So you're saying that even though it might not be the perfect scenario at the time because you have a little bit less time with your family, the end goal is you are eventually going to have more time with your family, which you do now.
Yeah.
So holding onto and focusing on the outcome is, I guess, the best thing to do for Danilo there, right?
Yeah, 100%. And then I guess just making blocks for it around either nap time or when baby goes to sleep at night.
So being organized, blocks during nap time.
Yeah.
That's a very niche question. I love that. So Joe's just saying good motivation. Chris is saying, what was your biggest mindset shift from when you just got started to now?
I think it comes back to the time leverage and the income potential. Just completely opened my mind to just not having the employee mindset of like, okay, this many hours equals this much pay. It's kind of untapped.
Not having the employee mindset.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's been a massive shift to now just have a completely open mind to what's potentially achievable in such a short space of time, like in terms of where the numbers are at now. At the moment, every week is life-changing, which is wild because of how well it's been going. That would probably be the biggest one.
Annalisa, it's easy to love this course. Do you take a break on the weekends or do you take advantage of the time?
Do take advantage of the time just because I've been looking at, as I said, I resigned recently. So leading up to making that decision, just trying to get more...
As much done.
As much done as possible to be as confident as I could be in that decision. So I still will do things obviously with family and we would go out, but when I'm come back at home, I'm making sure that I'm working on the store. And that's kind of cool as well because if I'm at home, I'm probably we're not doing too much anyway. So I feel like I'm still being productive. So I don't necessarily let it stop me from obviously doing things with the family, but if we're at home, rather than going on my phone, I work on the store.
Yeah, or watching Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So we've got Danilo saying, wow, that's great. Thanks, Richard. Yeah, I'll push myself through to getting through the checklist so I can spend more time with his family. So awesome, mate. And Danilo, I can't wait for you to achieve that, mate.
Coming from a family perspective, how it's changed my family and the opportunities we have available, the effort is definitely worth it. Just to keep pushing through for the result to happen has has been completely life-changing, 100%.
Cool, man. Thank you. Thank you. Because honestly, again, there's the whole purpose of this. And I think we're out. I think that's all the questions. Stefan saying, hey, brother, just wanted to mention I appreciate at the end of the majority of your posts, you can always give praise to the big man upstairs. So
yeah, and that's been a massive thing for me lately of just like, especially this week, as I was saying, it's been so successful that just I felt like it's also a bit of a test in some ways as well, because I think it's in our human nature, we can get greedy and also kind of expectant. So for me, something I've been trying to work on at the moment is just to stay thankful. Obviously, there's so much to be thankful for, but then I've got to stay aware of myself to not become expectant. So while we've been dealing with these challenges of like not having stock and then like trying to go to like a pre-order option and then seeing sales completely drop down and just having different new problems, just reminding myself to be thankful for everything I have achieved.
yeah.
And definitely, thanks to the Lord for that, because it was completely given to me. I just see the whole thing as a big gift, and just a gift to be in a space to learn it.
Stefan saying thank you for that. I think, giving thanks and praise to what you believe in is really powerful. I think that not only are you successful, but you're also humble, and that's really awesome to see, mate, and to hear. So if anyone else has any questions, please fire away, because we're going to wrap this up. I just wanted to say just a massive thank you, mate. This whole process is to help you. And the fact that you're sitting here, during your time, you don't have to be here. We're not giving Rich anything, just so you know. He's here to hopefully help his fellow students. And mate, I appreciate it. I bet we've got a lot of thank yous. I bet they appreciate it as well. I just wanted to say a big thank you. I mean, we were sitting here at the start, and like there was, it's like public speaking, talking, and there's nerves and
yeah, definitely. Something felt like the start of a school running race, waiting for the live to come on. But yeah, I hope what I said was helpful. It's kind of hard to know, obviously, but as I've said multiple times throughout the call, the effort is definitely worth the result.
Amen. And mate, I have no doubt that you've helped people listening, because even just you sitting on this couch and them seeing firsthand that this is possible, this is something that is not out of reach for everyone. Absolutely inspiring. Plus, your answers have been amazing.
Sweet.
Oh, and also thank you everyone who's for watching. Please come every week. I want to get my numbers up. No, I honestly want to help as many of you as I can. So any feedback would be greatly appreciated. But thank you for. I know there's 2 live calls in a row, so thank you for taking the time to come and listen. I appreciate that. Okay, so Rachel's saying it was really motivating. All right, Stefan, we've got one question, and then we're gonna say goodbye. Just one question. What would you say was the biggest hurdle you faced through this journey when it comes to e-com? So specific. So finding a product, making ads, or setting up your brand, your website. Pick one thing that you think was the most challenging, and then we'll say goodbye, because I don't want to go past the time.
I think everyone struggles with the finding the product. You just don't know until you test it. So on one hand, you can say it's so hard to find a product, but then you could also say it's actually quite easy to find a product, and the hard part's testing, because you don't know until you test it. You kind of got to test everything.
So product selection.
Product selection, but at the same time, product selection, it's just mental pressure. You don't actually know until you try it. So I would say you could also answer that question for don't put so much pressure on trying to find the right product.
Because you can just pivot and try another product.
Yeah, and that's so much the awesome part about this model, is because going back to the course fiend that I have been in the past. In the past, I've looked into like Amazon FBA and did courses in that, and like so many other business models, you have such a big outlay for product.
Yeah.
But with this model, you can just pivot if it doesn't work, and it's really not that much of a consequence.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, bro. So that's for Stefan. So Aggie and Lee are saying thanks, Richard and Will. Great call and very inspiring. You're all very welcome. We'll see you next week, and whoever's coming to our event on Saturday, then myself and Rich will see you there. So I hope everyone has a beautiful night, and thanks again, brother. Thank you, Richard.
Guys. Thanks for coming.
Cool, bro.
Awesome.
Dude,
Sweet, man.
you did incredible,
Thank
bro.
you.
You did incredible.
Hopefully that was.